Several of the most famous crystal skulls have been examined, yet more questions have been raised than answered. Anthropologist Jane Walsh believes the Maya were not capable of fashioning crystal skulls. Other researchers say the skulls could even date from the time of the legendary Kingdom of Atlantis, over 10,000 years ago. First mentioned by the Greek philosopher Plato, Atlantis was purportedly a mighty power that conquered much of the known world. Plato said it was located somewhere beyond the Pillars of Hercules.
Supposedly, the Atlanteans had a very high technology. They built giant ships. They built giant cities and ports and things like that. They would have been able to work with crystals and create crystal skulls.
But ultimately, the story of Atlantis ended in tragedy. At the height of its powers, Atlantis is said to have sunk beneath the sea in a day of terrible cataclysm.
Where did they go? Well, the whole idea is that there are earth changes. Occasionally, the earth goes berserk, and there's huge earthquakes, huge tidal waves, tsunamis, volcanoes go off.
In 1923, just before Mitchell Hedges journeyed to Belize, famed psychic Edgar Cayce proposed that the Atlanteans used a mysterious form of crystal energy as a power source. Stories of this fabled civilization originally drove Mitchell Hedges to Belize.
He was a believer in Atlantis, and he felt also that there were vestiges of Atlantis in Belize, in Honduras, and in certain islands of the Caribbean.
And being the kind of character he was determined to prove this. They'd heard rumors of a lost city said to be still buried deep in the rainforest, and he was determined to find it. He hoped that he might find evidence of the lost civilization of Atlantis.
What Mitchell Hedges stumbled upon was Lubantun.
Lubantun is unusual because it's not built with cement like other Mayan cities. It is built out of perfectly cut rocks, much of them megalithic in size. And Lubantun is therefore unlike other Mayan cities.
Which led Frederick Mitchell Hedges to wonder whether if perhaps the people who built the city of Lubantun were perhaps survivors from the Atlantean civilization.
If so, they may have had a type of cultural memory of that civilization's destruction. For the Maya also believe in recurring cycles of creation and destruction, and they created a calendar to reflect them.
The Mayans were such a mysterious culture, and they were obsessed with astronomy and the calendar and time.
It was a cyclical calendar. It went through great cycles. It was way more scientifically accurate than our own, based on the actual movements of the planets and the stars, and they used it primarily to make predictions.
The Maya believe the first cycle began in 3114 BC.
And one of the most frightening predictions the Maya made was that the current world will actually come to an end in the not too distant future.
The 13th cycle, the last one, is coming soon.
I'm standing at the site of an ancient observatory. The buildings here provided a fixed location to observe the sun, moon, and stars. The stelae, or vertical stones that surround this plaza, cast a shadow to a central point, marking the exact date of the year. On December 21st, 2012, this stela will cast a shadow marking the end of the Mayan long count calendar and perhaps, according to believers, the end of the world, or maybe the beginning of a new one.
December 21st, 2012 is the end of this great cycle of time in the long count calendar. It's basically targeting a very rare astronomical alignment. For the first time in 26,000 years, the Earth is lining up with the galactic center, the center of our Milky Way galaxy.
Some believe the alignment could actually cause the magnetic field or polarity of the Earth to reverse, causing major upheavals, massive earthquakes, huge volcanic eruptions, and violent climate shifts across the globe. And they have happened in the past. Scientists say the last reversal occurred about 790,000 years ago. Whatever may occur in 2012 could be directly related to the crystal skulls.
the Maya were obsessed with a particular god known as Itzan Na, and he was the god of the Earth's axis. He was represented with the image of a skull, perhaps a crystal skull. So this has led many people to speculate that perhaps the end of the calendar will be associated with some kind of shift in the Earth's axis, and that this might be what the Maya were talking about as the end of the current world.
But according to an ancient legend, this doomsday scenario can be prevented if all or most of the original 13 crystal skulls are reassembled and their awesome powers released.
The galactic alignment is going to set these crystal skulls resonating. They don't all have to be uncovered in order for this to happen. So we might actually find that some of them will start announcing their presence.
Could there be any truth to this tale of doom or deliverance? Can inanimate crystal hold any powers? A couple of weeks before Bill left for Belize, he decided to put those powers to a test. He journeyed to Sedona, Arizona, a place famous for its red rocks and as being a source of unknown and mysterious energy. Bill is here with the actual Mitchell Hedges skull, not the copy, to see if it has any special properties.
Being in Sedona, you're in one of the most beautiful places in the world, and the energy here is very, very special. And they have these different vortexes all through the area.
Author Jaap Van Etten is an expert on crystal skulls. He is also an authority on earth energy lines and vortexes. Jaap has invited Bill to Angel Valley Ranch, a potent vortex site.
So we're going to go set the crystal skull in the center of it, and we're going to do a ceremony that activates the portal at that point. It's supposed to send the energy through the world.
We believe that the crystal skulls work through the different earth energies, through the different grid systems of the earth. So by going to places of power and activating the skull, we activate those grid systems. We are with 12 people, and the Mitchell Hedges crystal skull is considered to be the 13th. So we represent, you can say, within this ceremony, the 12 other skulls. We will literally represent the energies and draw them in to the best of our abilities.
Interestingly, Native American legends also venerate the crystal skulls.
The Native American version of the legend says that there are 13 planets in the universe that are inhabited by human life, and that there is one skull for each of these planets, and a 13th skull that will one day connect all the various elements of the human race that are spread across the cosmos.
And in an example of art imitating life, the cosmology and myths of the Battlestar Galactica television series also mesh with those of the Native Americans.
There's a 13th colony of humankind, is there not?
Yes. The scrolls tell us a 13th tribe left Kobol in the early days. They traveled far and made their home upon a planet called Earth.
Just ahead, a tip on another skull leads us to a remote island and into treacherous territory. Also ahead, why some say the skulls are at the center of a government conspiracy of silence. Can we learn the truth before the Maya Doomsday of 2012?
It's a time of warning that if we continue on our current path, we will end up as skulls ourselves.
When Mystery of the Crystal Skulls continues.